So first, we're going to talk about those lawn care tips to make sure that you're not getting scammed. I sat down with Katie Grevious with the Better Business Bureau here in West Michigan just to talk about what you want to know, what you want to keep in mind, and what to do if something starts to feel a little fishy. Here you go.
So the first thing you're going to want to do if you're looking for any sort of lawn care, landscaping, is decide what you actually want done, because a lot of companies offer different things. And so it's going to make your search a lot easier to find that trustworthy company if you already know what you're looking for. Are you just looking for someone to mow your lawn? Are you looking for someone to maybe pull some weeds, do a little pesticides, maybe some other types of cleanup? Are you looking for someone to completely transform your backyard? These things are going to matter when it comes to who you hire and that price point. So once you have that figured out, you definitely want to do your research. You want to look up companies on websites like bbb.org and see what types of services they offer and what types of reviews they have. See if you can talk to other previous customers, or even ask, if you love your neighbor's yard, ask them who does it and get a referral from them. That's definitely going to help you narrow down in your search. BBB actually has this really cool get a quote tool. So if you are looking for, let's say, someone to mow your lawn, you can look for companies in your area and request quotes all at the same time to kind of save you that calling, emailing, outreach. We kind of do some of that all in one place for you. Then you're going to want to make sure that you have a conversation with that company. What are their services? How often are they coming? What does the price look like? How do you pay them? Do you pay them weekly? Do you pay them all up front? Make sure that you understand exactly what they plan on providing and you feel comfortable that it is meeting your needs. Then get it all written down on paper. That is so important. It doesn't matter what you talk about in person. What matters is what's written down in a contract. So get a written contract that outlines all those specifics, and don't sign it until you've read it and you understand it completely, because that's going to be binding. And not only is that going to help you in case you get confused and forget what you asked for and think there might be a problem, but it's going to help the business too to make sure that they're providing the proper services, so you can make sure you maybe avoid some sort of hiccup in the long run. Make sure that paper also includes that payment information, and that's really important. Be wary about paying with cash. BBB always recommends to pay with a credit card just because it's traceable and it's easy to get your money back if something goes wrong. But we understand that that's not how all of those types of companies work. So if you're going to pay with cash or check, make sure you have some sort of written documentation. Get a receipt from the company when you hand that money over, so that you have, again, that documentation. You just always want to cover yourself just in case. Not only does that help you, but it helps the company as well to make sure that they're getting paid, they received that money. So you, again, don't have any discrepancies in that long run. And then one thing you do want to consider, if you are going to have someone spray pesticides on your property, a company does need a license to do that in Michigan. They have to be certified, go through a training so they can learn how to properly put those pesticides out and be environmentally safe and things like that. It's really easy to look up. That's through the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. So if you just Google MDARD, D-A-R-D, you'll be able to find that list. They update it regularly. That's really important. Now, if you just want to head out to the store or ask your neighbor to do it for you, you don't need any certifications. But if a company is going to offer that service, they need to be licensed. One great thing about using the Better Business Bureau's website is all of our accredited businesses are up to date on any required licenses. So we kind of take some of that work out of the way for you if you are looking for that type of service. So just keep that in mind. And then just be wary for companies that are going door to door, offering you really cheap deals, that seem too good to be true. Remember that these services can't always be compared apples to apples. It depends on the time and the quality of the equipment and the different services that you need. So take that into consideration when you are looking at those quotes. The cheapest option may not always be the best option, but then also be wary if someone is maybe offering a service for an extremely low price. Look into more of that. Why is that? Why are they requiring such little money? They may have a valid reason, or that may be a red flag that something might be amiss and you may want to go with a different company.
If you're feeling weird or, something feels off, this is a service you're hiring for. This is your money that you're using. you can back out at any time if something, feels wrong and it doesn't feel like you should proceed.
You should always follow your gut. If something doesn't feel right, take that pause, take the information down, do a little bit more research and get back to them. Legitimate businesses want you to feel comfortable working with them. So if anything makes you feel uncomfortable, that's a red flag, and you need to either do some more research, maybe call some more resources, or maybe go in a different direction. Of course, companies are always going to want to make the sale. They want to gain that client. But if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to work with them. That is okay. It is your decision. And when you're filling out those contracts and you're signing paperwork, ask what that out kind of clause is. Can you cancel? What is the fee to cancel? Don't be surprised if there maybe is a fee to cancel, or there are some maybe extra hoops to jump through when canceling. But make sure you understand those before you sign, so that you know that when the time comes, if something happens and you no longer want their services, there may be additional fees involved. It may be a little bit more difficult than just calling and saying, don't bother to show up. But you need to make sure you understand that that's perfectly legal to have those types of things in writing. It protects the business, but then it's that in writing is going to also protect you as well. So just make sure you understand that and use that as part of your research. If you don't feel comfortable with their cancellation policy, maybe look at another company that has a policy you do like. That's all part of making those comparisons and getting those quotes. It should really be an investment of your time and your thoughts, so you feel comfortable with the business that you're hiring.
If, you pay this person money, you sign a contract or whatever, and somebody ghosts you, somebody doesn't show up or does a really poor quality job. Can you give advice on kind of what to do if that were to happen?
Absolutely. So if you're not satisfied, and first, we're always going to recommend that you reach out to the company and try to talk to somebody. If that effort's been exhausted, you're not getting anywhere, you're not getting those timely responses, please feel free to file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. We are a free resource, and we take complaints against companies and then try to work with that company and the consumer to come up with some sort of mutual resolution, whether it is a refund or getting a job redone. We are here as that resource to help you turn those bad marketplace interactions into positive ones, or maybe better understand those contracts that you sign, so that maybe, unfortunately, the next time you don't make those same mistakes. But we're hoping that this advice today is going to help you avoid some of those mistakes in the first place. When you are looking for a company to hire, and you maybe see outreach on social media, in your neighborhood groups, in those informed pages that you follow so closely, still do that research. Just because someone claims that they're local doesn't necessarily mean they are. Investigate that profile a little bit closer. Look that actual company up to see if it does exist, if it is local, and what kind of services they provide. And then also take that into consideration. Are you hiring an actual company, or are you just hiring a person who doesn't have a business? You may have a little bit more risk in that way. So just take that into consideration. We're not saying don't hire those people. We're saying take it into consideration who you're hiring and what those circumstances are. Are they a registered business? Is it an individual who's just operating, on a small part-time basis? So take those things into consideration again when you're doing that research. Now is the time when people are seeing that greener grass, or they're seeing those dark spots on their lawn, and they're thinking, I really don't want to put the effort in again to take care of it, or I'm looking to change companies. A lot of these lawn care services are already booked up, if not getting close to it. So if you're thinking about hiring a company to do something on a regular basis, you want to get moving now. And don't be discouraged if you do find some companies that don't have room for you, because they fill up so fast, which is a sign of a good reputation. But unfortunately, some people jump in right away in the winter. So if you're looking for these types of services, or you haven't thought about it yet, now is the time to really jump in and get started and start reaching out, start doing that research, so that when the rain stops and when the cold stops and we can start planting and we can start fertilizing, we actually have a company behind us who can help us get that lawn started, because some of that work may start right now in mid-April. The Better Business Bureau sees a lot of social media push from companies that maybe don't actually have companies here in Michigan, and they get into those social media pages and they offer all types of services, including lawn care, to get someone to send money over the phone or mail money or use a third party app to pay them in advance. So just be wary that just because you see a recommendation on social media from someone you know, their profile may have been compromised. That person may not actually be local. If you need more help on distinguishing whether a social media page makes sense or not, we have tons of resources on our website, bbb.org, that can help you weed through it. But again, just do a little bit of extra research. And that's going to help you kind of weed out some of those potentially bad businesses. Legitimate businesses, they advertise on social media, and that is a great thing. And that's where you want to start that research. You see their name, you get off of that social media platform, and you begin that research to see if they back up those advertisements that they're putting out there.